All right, welcome everybody. I'm Sandy Schussel, and you are at a masterclass for tripling your qualified leads through easy, zero-cost introductions. What I'd like to see happen, oh, actually, before then, I see a lot of old friends here, Vince, Mehdi, Subroto, Carlos, Marie, Abby, Adam. There are a lot of people who don't know me, so I'm just going to start by explaining a little bit of where I come from to come up with what we're going to be talking about today. If you can see me and you just heard what I had to say, just put a Y or a yes in the chat box. If you have questions, you can use the chat box. I usually catch them. I can't promise I always will catch them. But that's how we're going to get started. So I see some yeses. Then let's make some magic happen here. I've been working with advisors for 23 years. I started in sales training and coaching 23 years ago. Uh, I've worked with people who are just starting out. Some of you are in that category. I've worked with top of the table advisors, advisors who are making $1 million or more, helping them with everything from prospecting to sales to managing a team to growing a business. And one of the things that I did a tremendous amount of research on and a lot of work in the field with, and I've helped thousands of advisors with this, is the subject that we're going to be talking about today. So hang on and be ready to learn a whole lot. If you stay to the end, I'll talk to you about some of the things that you can do to make what we're going to learn here, which is going to be covered relatively quickly, work for you, and how you can get some personal help from me without worrying about cost or sales pitch or anything else. That's not how I work. I do want to talk to you towards the end about the program that I'm doing as a summer school with a special rate, because most of the people who do these webinars, seminars are pitching something. Mine will be a very short pitch. And if you like what you see, great. And if you don't, that's okay. Let's get started. I'm going to share three ideas with you today. The first is how to develop a mindset that makes it not only absolutely okay to ask for introductions, but where you want to ask and the people that you ask actually want to have that conversation with you. The second is how you earn the right to get those so that a lot of them will come without you even asking, but then we're going to talk about a complete system for having the conversation with them so that you can actually get out and really learn, really grow your business, double or triple the qualified leads that you've been getting weekly and monthly. And we're all going to pack that all into this next 45 minutes or so. So the first thing I want to do is talk about how I distinguish referrals from introductions. You know, the old thing about referrals is you're asking for help to build your business. You want more clients. You're asking for more clients. And basically, you're asking for a name and a phone number with the idea that they're going to give it to you. You're going to take care of it. Sometimes you might ask them, hey, would you call them first? But it's really about you trying to get business from someone. And most people find that uncomfortable and needy and salesy, and eventually they stop doing it altogether and pray that they're going to get those unsolicited referrals. And every once in a while, one of them comes, but there's a much, much better way to do this. And that's what I'm going to be calling introductions. And I may use the words interchangeably, but what we're talking about here is where the client actually wants to help you and is not offended by your asking and is not uncomfortable with your asking. And that's where we're going to focus our attention. And it starts with those three concepts, the first being mindset. So most of us do not have an introductions mindset. We do not have a referral mindset. And there's a reason for it because when you first start out, someone says, "Oh, you're going to ask for referrals." And when you do it, the feeling that you get is awkward and uncomfortable. So most advisors are too uncomfortable to have a conversation about being introduced. And there are really there are a lot of reasons, but there's three basic reasons why they're scared to do this, why they're not comfortable doing this. And the first of the three reasons is the idea that you don't want rejection. You'll ask for a $50,000 check, you'll arrange a $500,000 transfer, but when it comes to saying, "Hey, is there anybody that you know I can help?" You're kind of thinking something like this is going to happen. Where the client will say, "Wait a minute, you have the audacity to ask me for an introduction? Give me that paperwork. Get out of here." And of course, it never happens, but nobody wants to face the possibility of what you view as rejection. And so that's one of the reasons that we don't ask. The second reason is it makes you feel disloyalty. I tell a client that we're going to spend the whole time working on them and talking about them. And then somewhere in the conversation, I bring in, do they know anybody else? Is there anybody that they think might benefit from seeing this, or however I say it? And it feels kind of disloyal. It's like my partner is a lovely woman named Holly, and you can imagine us on our first date and we're at the door and I don't know if I'm going to be invited in or there's going to be a goodnight kiss. And I say, Holly, I had a really great time tonight. And she says, yes, Andy, I did too. And then I say, well, Holly, it should be obvious to you that I like women. Who else do you know that I might be able to go out with? And if that didn't make you chuckle, then you probably are one of those people that are scared by this. But that's one of the reasons that we stop asking for referrals or we don't ask at all. And the third reason is probably the most important one, and that is we don't want to appear needy. We don't want to appear like we need the business. And the truth is, needy is creepy. And if you come on as needy, it's going to look bad. It's going to feel bad. It's going to make you uncomfortable. And most of the time, when clients are uncomfortable, is because we made them uncomfortable by doing something that just doesn't feel right. And so, what we're going to be talking about is what does feel right and a program that will help you learn this so that it increases your business for the rest of your career. But here's the reality that this kind of thinking puts us behind. Here's the reality that you need to be aware of, um, and that is that talking about introductions is good for everyone. It's good for you because, hey, look, you're right there with the client. It doesn't cost you anything to have the conversation. It comes if you get an introduction, it comes with a built-in testimonial, meaning the person you're going to see knows that the person that you're in front of right now has a good relationship with you. Uh, Referrals, introductions has the best conversion rate of anything you do, better than webinars, better than networking. The conversion rate is very high on these. So not only will you have more, but the more people you see, you're going to have a much higher closing ratio. Interestingly enough, it helps you keep the client because if I have a client that has referred me to three or four people, they're not necessarily going to leave me, even if we have a bad month or a bad year, because all those other people came with them. And the truth is that this is how prospects want to meet you. Study after study show that prospects want to meet you through a friend or family member or another advisor or professional that they trust. And so these are all the reasons it's good for you. Now, it's good for the prospect because, hey, guess what? They get you. They get somebody that really cares about them, somebody that really wants to help them, somebody who's knowledgeable. And you and I both know there are people out there that don't fit that model at all. And instead of getting one of them, the prospect is going to get you. So it's good for you, it's good for the prospect. But here's the interesting thing, it's also good for the client that you ask. And people say to me, well, how could it be good for them? So follow this. When somebody gives you an introduction, somebody gives you a referral, they are taking a risk. We think we have a risk in asking. We don't have a risk. They'll just say no. They have a risk that you're going to go and do something that damages their relationship with the friend or family member. And so, under the old method, they would give you people they don't care about because that way, if it messes up, they don't care. But the fact is, if a client trusts you enough and feels good enough about recommending you to a friend or family member, and it works out as it's likely to do, hey, guess what? They're a hero. They're Superman. And you give them that when you do talk to them about paying it forward to friends and family members. And you take that away from them when you don't talk to them about the people in their lives that they care about most. So that's what we're going to be talking about. Now, here's why we don't see that. I mean, because it's obvious and it's real. Most of us either learned or were taught in a very uncomfortable, me focused way, the way I build my business is. And that is not the way to talk about introductions. And the other reason is, well, the market didn't do so well for a while, and I sold these people this insurance, and I don't really have a relationship with. We aren't sure that we deserve the introductions. So let me handle the first one first, because you need to know how to change your mindset. And the two ways you're going to do that is, one is to stop focusing on you and the way you build your business and your need. Even if you're the neediest person in the world, you have no clients and you want more clients, stop focusing on that and start focusing on them. And the other way is to make sure when you're talking to a client, you've earned the right to have that conversation. So let's talk about the first one, is the focus. So the old way of doing this was me focused, my business focused. And we'd say things like, John, Mary, the way I build my business is that I ask all of my clients to give me referrals to people that they know. So here's a sheet. Would you give me 10 names, please? Because, I want to be able to reach out to at least 10 people, and then give me their phone numbers too. Second way, and these are just four of the many, is Mr. and Mrs. Klein, I get paid in two ways. One is I make a small fee or commission off business that I place, and the other is all my clients give me referrals. So here's a sheet, give me three names and phone numbers. Yeah, of course, this is smarmy. Nobody wants to do this. Um, or worse is, would you rather have me working your account on your account or out looking for business? So give me some referrals so I won't have to be out looking for business. And one I didn't put up here that I could definitely add is, John, Mary, we're having a contest at my office. And if I get just two or three more people, I have a chance to go to Hawaii. And people actually did this stuff. And then what would happen is you would do it, it would feel awkward, and you'd stop doing it altogether. Or you saw it for what it was right away and said, I'm not doing that. And so instead of using the people that are your best clients to help you replicate them and get more best clients, what you do instead is not have the conversation. And again, if you're treating clients right, you do get a certain amount of unsolicited introductions, referrals, but you can do so much better. And that's where we want to go with this. And so what the first thing that you have to do is change from a me focus to a them focus. And it's something like this. You can use this language, but it's more expansive than this. John Mary, is there someone you care about that you'd want to help if they needed help? Let's talk about someone in your life that might need the help. I know you won't know whether they do or not because we don't talk about our finances, but who would you want to help if they needed help? And that one change takes it out of the realm of being awkward or uncomfortable. You find out that they're really happy with you. And you say, I know you know people that aren't as happy and they don't talk about it. Is there someone you care about that you'd want me to help if they needed help? Even in an early part of the relationship, when you don't really have a relationship with them, but you're showing them something like tax-free retirement or something exciting, or maybe you're organizing their thoughts around money and insurance for the first time. Is there someone you care about that you'd want to share this idea with? Let's hold them to the end and we'll talk about them. So once you change the focus, so it's not about me, I need business, I need money, I've got to get more clients, and it's about them, you take the chance of rejection off the table. It's rare. I have a step 5 in my 10-step program that's about dealing with referral resistance, introductions resistance. It's rare that anybody resists this because here the worst thing they could say is, I just, nobody comes to mind. And there's no feeling like, oh man, this guy just pressed me for introductions. That doesn't come up anymore. So the first thing is change the focus of your asking, and we'll talk more about that later. The second is to understand that you deserve introductions. And I go through 4 ideas that I want to share with you that show you this is so. The first is I provide a great service to my clients. Well, if you don't, you got to fix that because you don't deserve referrals. If you don't deserve introductions. 2, all of them have people that they care about who need this service. And you know that's true. Some of them may already have an advisor and things like that, but they all know people that need that service. If I don't get to those people, somebody else will, or they'll do something on their own that's not in their best interest. This is just so true. I had nobody back in the days when I was an attorney. I had nobody that I could ask because advisors thought I was all set. So nobody asked me if I need any help, which is a whole other discussion. And so I called my brother-in-law, the dentist, and asked him what I should invest in for my daughter's college education. And he told me I should invest in the Vanguard Star Fund. So I said, well, he's an investor. He must know. What I didn't know, because I wasn't in this industry yet, is that the Vanguard Star Fund was a fund made up of Vanguard funds. So you had all the underlying charges plus the charges for that fund. It never made money. It was a terrible investment for my clients. But had there been an advisor who said, whoa, wait a minute, here's what you should do. I wish you were there. And none of my friends or family members recommended someone to me. And that's what's happening in your world if you're not getting enough business, is you're not getting enough great introductions. And number 4 is I deserve the one to be the one to help them. If I'm providing that good service and I can help their friends and family, I deserve it. And if you take these 4 concepts and you put them in front of you and remind yourself about this every day, you're going to see that simply by changing your approach so that it's not a discussion about you and your business, you're going to be able to grow your business. So that's number 1. That's having the mindset. Number 2 is earning introductions. And so let's follow this idea. To earn introductions, you have to create what's called an engaged client. Let me tell you where this comes from. In 2010, I read a study by a woman named Julia Littlechild, who'd been commissioned by Schwab to see what makes clients happy and what makes them refer business. And that study found that there were four levels of clients. There was the disgruntled client who's going to give you negative referrals. He's going to tell, I don't care who you use, but don't use Sandy. Whatever you do, he's not the one you should go to. Then you had the complacent client. They weren't happy, they weren't unhappy. You were just a service that you provided. And they were likely, maybe 20% of them were likely to refer sometimes in their lifetime. Then there was the satisfied client. You'd think, well, they're satisfied. I'm doing everything right for them. They'll refer to me. And that came out to be about 29% of satisfied clients refer. And then there were the engaged clients. They referred you to anybody and everybody, whether the people asked about it or not. And so that got me excited. I said, I want to study like what makes an engaged client, because there were no conclusions about that. And in 2022, Julia Littlechild put out a more recent report where her conclusion was if you could engage clients, 98% of the engaged clients had already referred at least once in the last 12 months. So it's magic. All you need to know really is what makes an engaged client. So this is what I started studying in 2010. And I came to the conclusion, and you'll see different versions of this all over the internet, but I came to the conclusion that there were two ways to engage a client, and you needed to do both of them. And the best way to do it would be with your top clients, because if you have 100 clients or more, it becomes really hard to do it with all of them. And one is to provide absolutely impeccable world-class service. And the other is to surprise and delight them, to give them, to make them astonished. And if they were astonished, they would tell people about you. So we wait around until somebody mentions that they need insurance, or they don't know what to do with the money from their job that they just left with their 401k or their 403b. And you can wait a long time for that. Whereas if your client is talking about you to people, they'll say, wow, tell me more about your advisor. And if you do these two things, you start to get referrals that are unsolicited, but you also start to be able to ask for them in a way that makes them want them to give them to you. So let's study what I mean by service. First of all, it's doing what pays, and that is, are you showing your top 20 clients, and it could be 10 or 30, are you showing them everything that you should be showing them? Are you discussing everything that you should be discussing with them? Most of us get service and pleasing backwards. We want them to be happy. So let's say 5 years ago, we had a discussion about long-term care, and they looked at the rates, and we're not paying that, we don't like it. And now you know that there are insurance products with living benefits in them where they might be perfect for these clients. But when you think about talking to them, oh no, we had that discussion, they didn't like it. And so you want to keep them pleased, and you're not serving them fully. And so what you need to do is go back to all of your best clients and look and say, have I done everything I can possibly do with this client? And you say, well, yeah, in this case, I really should be talking to them about long-term care, but I know they didn't want to hear it. So your job is not to give in to that. Your job is to serve them, which means, Tom, Mary, I want to talk to you about this again. We talked about it a few years ago and you rejected it, but some things have changed in the business. And then I want you to do what feels right, even if doing nothing at all feels right, but I want you to understand the consequences either way. And that's a great way to serve them, so you can talk about anything you haven't talked about. And I look at anybody's top 20 list and I can tell you right away the things you haven't done. They bought a term policy 10 years ago. It was a 20-year term. And you never talk to them. Their kids are out of school now, and you never talk to them about converting that. So you need to talk to them about conversion. You never talk to them about disability, and you should have, but you meant to. You put some assets under management and you meant to get back to them to talk about insurance. And you need to really serve them better. But service isn't just about what you get paid for. Service also includes things you won't get paid for. They mention a bad back and you could recommend a chiropractor, or they need a lawyer and you can recommend that, or an accountant or a realtor, whatever it is they need. You should have a network of people that you can connect them to. A lot of them come from your existing clients. You don't even have to hunt that hard to find them. Have conversations with your clients. So that's the service side. Let me talk to you about the astonishment side. And the question here is, how can I surprise and delight them so that they're talking about me? You want to get them talking about you. So the conversation is, do you know what my advisor did the other night? And the friend says, no, what? And then they tell them, and whoa, they're so surprised that they say, wow, I can't even get my agent on the phone when I need him. Tell me about yours, because that's the way you're going to move business away from people that already have advisors, or people who haven't taken the plunge to get advisors, is to get them talking about you. And they have no reason to talk about you if you're doing everything for them and it just doesn't come up in conversation. And there are two ways you do this: socializing in gifts. I want to start a minute with the idea of socializing with them. Um, I look at people's top 20 clients, and they haven't seen them in 3 months, 6 months, a year. If that's your best clients and that's how you treat them, how do you treat your worst clients? You need to have better relationships with them, and that means doing things with them. So picture this scenario. You have clients who are, their anniversary is next Tuesday. And you call them and you're talking to them. What are you doing for your anniversary? And they say, well, that Italian restaurant in town that we like, we're going to go there. We have 8 o'clock reservations there. Now you call the restaurant with your credit card and say, look, when the Smiths come, I want to deliver a bottle of Prosecco to their table from their financial advisor, Sandy. So the Smiths come in and they sit down, they're looking at the menu, and the waiter comes over with the bucket and the bottle of Prosecco. And Mr. Smith says, no, no, I didn't order that. And they say, no, no, this is a gift from your financial advisor, Sandy. He wanted to wish you a happy anniversary. Now they go home that night and people say, oh, how was your anniversary? What do you think they're going to be talking about? And the people on the other end will say, wait a minute, that was your advisor did that? I can't even get mine on the phone. Tell me about yours. And that's the way it begins. That's the kind of thing. You have a client who's having a birthday next week, and you call him up and say, look, Joe, I know you already have Fred and Ron are clients as well at your office. I want to throw you a birthday party next week. Oh, Sandy, you don't have to do that. No, no, I really do. I know you like that diner up the street and you sometimes go there for lunch with the guys. Who else should I invite? And then you show up with a cake, or you make sure they have a cake for them, and you're sitting at this table, and there's the five of you there and five of them there, and there's three clients, and the other two are saying, wait a minute, he's your advisor and your advisor and your advisor. How come we've been left out? And this works all the time. And in the meantime, your client is feeling great. So socializing is important. Taking them to dinner, finding special things to do with them is important. And so is gift giving. most advisors, oh, they send a Christmas card or they send a little Christmas gift that's the same for everybody else. And the gift giving needs to be thoughtful. The example that I like to use, you see this Holland America line golf ball. I'm walking along the Jersey Shore, and rolling in the surf is this perfect golf ball. And I pick it up and I'm thinking, well, I could keep it, I could give it to a kid. And then I remembered that I had a client that had whose son collected country club golf balls. And so I sent it for $2.50. I sent it in a package with a note that said, I don't know if Timmy would care to have a cruise ship golf ball, but I remembered his collection. How did I know that? Relationship with client. This is what I'm talking about. Well, Timmy put it in the center of the display that he had over his bed on shelves, and he would drag their guests up to his bedroom to see the golf ball, the golf ball that got him most excited, the one in the middle from a cruise ship. And then the people would go back downstairs and have a conversation. Who sent that? How did he get that? And they're going to hear the same thing. Really, in your case, it'd be your financial advisor did that. Geez, I haven't heard from mine in months. You have to develop relationships with them. And in the program, I'm going to talk briefly about at the end, we're going to talk about how to do that. I mean, for right now, there's so many occasions, new baby birthdays, anniversaries, anniversary of your work together, retirement. You do something for veterans. Somebody goes to the hospital. I can't tell you how many times a client says to me, "Oh, my I was supposed to meet with this client, but he's in the hospital." I said, "Well, what did you do?" "Well, what do you mean? What did I do? Did you visit him?" "No." "Did you send flowers or a book?" "No." These are the things that get you to deserve introductions. And so you got to do those things. A marriage, a new home, holidays, no reason at all. Sometimes I saw I saw this knife, and I remember you were talking about how you collect them. And so I wanted you to have it, and you send it to them. And there's no reason except, oh, you thought of that. Or it's you remember that they have a cat Fluffy and they love their little cat Fluffy, and you get them something to put around Fluffy's neck with the name Fluffy on it and the phone number on the back. No reason at all. They talk about you when you do stuff like that, and that's how you deserve referrals. And then all you need, if you've got that going, is an introduction system where you talk about who to ask, how to ask, when and how you bring it up, scripts, practice. You got to practice these things. And when you have a system like that, like the one I'm about to show you, it has 10 steps. It works, and it's worked for literally thousands of advisors now, and I want to share it with you. I'm going to be moving quickly, so it might not, you might need more time to absorb it. And if you want to take screenshots as we talk about things, feel free to do whatever works for you to capture it now. But then I want to talk to you about how to learn this so that it's second nature to you in a very short time for very little money. And we're going to talk about that soon. Here's the 10 steps. You don't have to write this down because I'm going to go through them individually. And this is how we do it. So I want to just jump to number one, and that is planting seeds. There's lots of ways to plant seeds about the fact that you want introductions. You can put up reminders and signs. You can have it in your phone message. You can have it on your signature line. This is the passive way to do it. You can ask for introductions without asking. Hey, Joe, don't keep me a secret. If you have somebody that you care about, as busy as I am, I'm never too busy to help somebody that you care about. But the best way to do it is in client conversations. And so let's say you have a good client that you've got few years relationship with, and you're sitting down to meet with them, and you want to set an agenda for them. So, Ron, the first thing we're going to do tonight is we're going to review your situation, see if there are any changes that I need to be aware about, and also catch up on your grandchildren and whatever else. The second thing is something that we put off talking about that I want to bring up again. The third thing is maybe something else. And the last thing I want to do with you today is to talk about how we're doing and ask you about some of the people in your life who might not feel as good about their situation. And is there anything that you want to put on the agenda? Now, I promise you, if you do it in that order and you ask them about what they want to put on the agenda, there's no objection to having a conversation about the people in their lives. And so that's the first thing, is to let them know it's coming. There's a lot of reason for this. First is they get an opportunity to think about it. Second is you're not surprising them at the end with something that they didn't know was coming. And so for those reasons alone, you want to start with step one. You want to start to plant the seeds. Now, another way to do that is, let's say you do have an exciting process, or you're showing them how to have a tax-free retirement, or you're showing them something else that they are going to think is really cool, and they've expressed that to you. And so what you want to do there is say, as we go through this process, what might happen is that you're going to think of someone close to you that should be doing this. And if that happens, I don't want to talk about them and interrupt what we're doing. Save them till the end so we can focus on you and your situation. And I'll ask you about them at the end. And this stuff really works if you do it. So please, make sure that you're ready to do that. That's step one. Now, step two, you get to the end of the appointment, and we were going to take the temperature of the relationship. We were going to talk about the relationship. And so you're going to start with the general question. So, how are we doing? And they're going to say, "Oh, great, great, great. I love what you're doing, and I'm happy with your services." But you can dig deeper, and none of the middle questions are mandatory, but digging deeper is important. In the beginning, you were shopping and you've made the decision to work with us. You made the decision to work with me. What made you make that decision? Why did you decide to work with me? And listen to what they say. And then, we had all that trouble in 2008, with the market and everything else, or we couldn't get you approved, and, I couldn't get you standard, and we tried 4 or 5 places and that didn't work out, or you got declined, or whatever it is. What made you stay with me and listen to what they say? What do you like that I do? And if they tell you something, use what I call the magic question. What else? What else? What else? Just keep saying what else until they run out. If you say the words anything else, it's going to stop there. So say what else? It's just a little piece of magic that I want to give to you. It's a great question to ask. Then don't be afraid to ask them if there's anything you do too much of or too little of. What could be better? Because most of the time they're going to say, "Oh, no, you're doing a great job. We're happy. Don't even think about it." But sometimes they're going to tell you something that they don't like, and that might not be the night you want to have a conversation about being introduced. Fix it. And then always ask this question: is there anything more I can do for you now or in the future? So step three is to actually ask for people, but you're not asking for people to get their names and phone numbers. You're asking for people to talk about. And so the way that you want it to work is, I'm glad you feel that way. If ever you don't, if ever you're not happy, tell me about it so I can fix that. Can we talk about the people in your life that you'd want to help the same way, in the same way if they needed help? And you continue. I know you won't know their situation because that's going to be an objection. Otherwise, well, I don't know their situation. I know you won't know their situation. People just don't talk about their finances. And between you and me, they'd sooner talk about their sex lives than their finances. Now, you don't have to say that part, though. But who might
Damn,
you
Sandy.
Yeah, had to get on to say that, huh? But I know you won't know their situation. People don't talk about their finances, but who might you want to help if they needed help? Who should we be talking about that we might want to ask? And if you use that language, there is no rejection because either they want to help the people they care about or they don't. And if they don't, there isn't much that you can do about it. So that's the question. Now, the best way to do it is to name a specific person. Who do they hang out with? Who came to their last get together? Who did they play golf with? Who are their friends and connections on social media? So that question might look like something like this. You do the first part, and then, well, how about your brother Ron? Is there a reason you haven't introduced me to him? And that might be, yeah, he's got no money, blah, 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 whatever it is. But maybe there's somebody else that they want to mention. So best way to do it is to have specific people to talk about. Now, again, if it was about the idea that you wanted to show to someone and you're at the end of the appointment, that step three looks a little different. It looks like, well, I mentioned at the beginning that you might think of someone you think should be doing this. Did anyone come to mind? And if they say, well, yes, that's where you start. And if they say no, no damage done, no harm done, no discomfort, no awkwardness. Okay, if you do think of someone, let me know. So the next step is step four, which is harvesting names by asking who else. This is the magic. Here's the mistake we make. They mention someone. You're so excited, you start asking about them. Don't. Say, okay, you mentioned your brother. We'll definitely talk about him. Who else comes to mind? Oh, really? Well, we'll talk about them too. Who else should we be talking about? The mistake would be to stop it and keep saying who else, and again, not anyone else because it'll end. Who else can should we be talking about? Now, I can tell you this from history. The most I ever saw that I know of was 13 who else's that got 13 introductions. That means it was actually 14 because there were 13 who else's. It's usually not going to be that big, but instead of one, you might get two or three. And that's what you're aiming for. Now you have three people to talk about. Now, step five would happen if there was resistance, and I call that resistance automatic negative responses. And that is people will say, I can't think of anyone, I don't know anyone. They don't have any money. Let me test the waters first. I don't discuss financial matters with others. Give me some cards on and on and on and on. But when you do it this way, you don't really get them. So in the program I'm doing this summer, um, it's an add-on to the program. I want you to know how to respond to those, but I don't want to spend any time on it here because I want to go to step six, which is how you learn about your prospects. And you want to ask two questions. You can ask lots more questions, but there are two that you want to ask. I know you might not know your brother Ron's situation, but what made you think I might be able to help them? And they're going to tell you a story. Well, he just got remarried and he has custody of his two kids, and the woman he married has two kids, and I'm sure their finances are a mess. Doesn't matter what the answer are. You're asking them what made you think that I might be able to help them, because that's the way it's going to happen. And the second question you want to ask in step six is there something you respect or admire about them? Now, people say, well, why do you ask that? Because you're going to use that when you call them. You're going to use that in step eight. And what happens if you watch them is they're no longer thinking referral procedure. They get to talk about this person that they care about, that they told you about. So they're thinking, well, he's the best golfer I ever saw. It's 175 yards straight out every single time he tees up. Or he's the best cookie baker in the whole East Coast. The chocolate chip cookies are amazing. You should see that. Or they're great parents, or whatever it is. Take that, let them talk about that. And the more information about that you get, the better. And I'll show you why when we get to step 8. But step 7 is probably the pivotal step in this program. What we tend to do is tell them, will you call them? Do you think you'll be able to call them? Do you think, don't do that. Ask them, how do you think John would be most comfortable being introduced to me? And they will tell you how they think. And wow, you mean you're just going to call him? What a great idea. I wouldn't have thought of that myself. No, you don't say that obviously. But the idea is if they say it, they own it. If you suggest it, it's your suggestion and they may or may not do it. But if they say, well, I could call him, now you want to pin them down. And part of the language that I can teach you is goes something like this. That is, if what are you going to say to him when you call him? When do you think you might call him? How about if I call you to make sure you spoke to him, and that way you can give me his number now, and we'll just talk on Monday, and I'll give you a call before I talk to him. So it's all set up for you, which brings us to step 8, which is you get on the phone with the guy. He already knows you're going to be calling because he discussed it with the client that you asked. So the client has become a partner in this. And it's, did Ray tell you I'd be calling? Well, you know that already, but they're going to answer, well, yeah, he said you call him. Just out of curiosity, what did he say about me? Now, you would have told them, just tell them you're working with me and you trust me and it will be worth their time to get on the phone. But they usually don't listen to you. And they say, well, he set up this 529 for me and I got this term policy, whatever. But the reason you want to ask that is because then you want to ask the third question. Can I tell you what he said about you? Now, you asked them something you respect or admire. Now you give them that, and it makes an easy conversation that leads to you talking to them about their situation to see if you can help them. That's step 8. Step 9 is you thank the clients for referring you and don't wait until you have the meeting with the client or you're doing business with the prospect. Don't wait for that. Thank them immediately. And you don't need to send a gift. If I refer someone to you, what I want is information. I spoke to your brother John, and we're going to meet next Thursday. I spoke to your brother John, and we're going to be working together. They want to know if they made a difference. They want to put on that Superman costume and feel like they've earned the right. They took the risk by sending you to someone, and it worked out, and now I'm a hero. So that's step 9. And step 10 is you ask the new client to thank them. Say, John, I thanked your brother for sending me to you and having us meet. And I know that he would be happy to hear from you, and just tell him that you're working with me. And I think that would make him feel really good because he was concerned about it. Now, that's the 10 steps. Let me talk to you about what happens here, what's different, first of all. You're not surprising them. They know that we're going to have this conversation. It's not about you, so there's no pressure. It's not awkward or needy. You're asking for someone you can help. You're basically asking, can we pay this forward? You're asking to talk about someone that they'd want to help if that person needed the help. You're not pouncing. We pounce too much, and that's what makes us feel awkward. And you're using the magic question, who else, who else, who else? If you use this system, you're going to double or triple your qualified leads. You're going to get introductions to people that are the right people because you're asking your top 20. You're going to get higher conversions because this is the best conversions come from introductions. It's not going to cost you anything. The language that we teach you is easy and comfortable, and it's a great way to develop client acquisition for free. It's you're going to have better client relationships because you're interested in helping the people they care about, and you're going to get perfect client matches for you. But also, you're going to spend less time and effort prospecting. You're going to have more focus, better organization, reduced anxiety, higher lows when you have a low time, like in the summer. And all of this will be without sacrificing your integrity, spending ridiculous amounts of money, or taking away from family time. Don't take my word for it. David, who might be on this call, I don't know if he's on today's or tomorrow's. I was looking for a method of asking for and receiving referrals that was genuine, sincere, authentic, etc., without any gimmicks or feeling needy or greedy. Sandy's system was by far the best referral program training I had ever had before or since. After barely starting to use what I learned in this series, I received 2 referrals in 1 week. Since then, I've been getting referrals every week like never before. That was Joanne. Pete said, I picked up 2 referrals in 1 day during the first week I started using Sandy's system. Great referrals keep coming, and I'm very excited. This really works. So my question for you is if you could really learn and follow this system this summer, rather than trying to pick it up in one webinar, could it accelerate your business in the second half of 2024? Would you want my help building and implementing the introduction system this summer and making these results a reality for you in the second half of the year of 2024? Then what I'm inviting you to do, and I'm going to get to Q&A in a couple of minutes, so stay with me, is I have an 8-week group coaching program that's guaranteed to get you quality introductions. It's summer school. We're going to take you to summer school. You're going to meet with me once a week. And here's basically how it works. We're going to cover the 10 steps in detail. We're going to do an analysis of your existing client base and teach you how to engage your best clients to do and what to do with the others that aren't your best clients so that everybody gets your service, but you don't have to spend any more time. You're going to get complete scripts for everything. We'll address all your fears, questions, and concerns, and we're going to help you be able to do this. Whoops, I don't know how that happened, but that's all right. We're go without being needy or salesy. Um, Here's the way the program works. Every week we release a video. It's 10 or 15 minutes tops that has everything you need in that for that week. And then on the next Thursday after it's released, 6 days later, we have a group coaching session where you get to interact with me, you get to interact with group members. We can, if you're willing to participate, divide you into smaller groups and we can talk about it. You won't miss anything if you've got vacation because everything's recorded, the videos, the group coaching sessions. And the thing is, you can apply what you learn immediately. And there's a guarantee that if you do everything in this program and you don't get more introductions, then I'll give you your money back. There's no reason that this can't work because it's worked for everybody who's implemented it. Now, this program is usually offered for $1,000, $997. The summer version is being offered for $497. And you can also pay in 3 weekly installments of $175 if that works better for you. The starting date is July 11th, and it runs until the end of August. Again, so if you'll be away, you have access to the recordings. And you want to use the link that I'm about to put in the chat here, but it's also at the bottom of the page to register. Write this down. Do consider joining this program. It will change your career for sure. Now, the potential transformation you get is higher conversion, zero cost client acquisition, lasting relationships, more perfect client matches, all that good stuff. And you want to be able to do that. But it's up to you. You can stay on the path you know best, or you can take a bold step this summer. And for $497, you can learn a way to make your business easier and more profitable. So click the link in the chat if you want to go and sign up for it right now. Otherwise, take down the number sandyschussel.com/register. It's really easy to do. You will not regret doing it, and you're going to learn this system so that you can go out there and grow your business off your existing business, which is a lot easier than spending time in doing seminars and buying leads and doing cold calling. Much better way, and I'm happy to help you do it. So what I'd like to do now is open you up. You can either unmute your microphone or you can put something in the chat. If you don't have questions, give me a comment at least. Did you get what I wanted you to get out of this? Is there enough information here that you don't feel like, I wasted my time to get a sales pitch? Please let me know if this helped you. Question, how about if you're just getting started, if you don't have existing client base? And the answer to that is you need to learn this, but maybe if you're just getting started and you don't have any clients, you want to wait until you have a few. The only thing is, in the fall, I'm going to offer this for $1,000, and here's a chance to learn it now. That's going to be a choice you can make. Abby says you make it seem easy, but I think I can practice it. Yeah, you can, Tom. You're welcome. You definitely can practice this. And the whole idea of the 8-week program is that you're going to be able to do this without thinking about it. It's just going to be a conversation, an easy, comfortable conversation that you're going to have with the clients. Who else has questions or comments? And I really appreciate the comments too. It's like you do this and you wonder what your impact is.
All right, Sandy, I'm here.
Okay, good. Tell me.
All right. So the best thing I could think of is that once your training has been integrated into one's process, then it becomes automatic. And your confidence goes up because you're not thinking, oh, yeah, by the way, what about this? Because, quite frankly, I hate thinking that way. I like having everything integrated, follow the bouncing ball. And once it's integrated, all you have to do is just keep doing it, and it's part of your total process. It's a part of who you are, and it's a part of doing business with you. And you make it as comfortable as possible because once you're comfortable with it, everybody else can be comfortable with it. Let them be uncomfortable, not you.
Yeah, and they won't be, and that's great. And David's one of the people that he sat through this again, and he's seen it 3 or 4 times now. He's worked with me, so he's one of the testimonials, and it really does work. And I've got well over 1,000 people in the field who have told me that it works. Let's make it happen. And this 8 weeks is a great time to do it. Who else? Anybody, just unmute yourself now that I got your faces on there and you're still here. And if not, click that link, get us started. The link is still visible in the chat. Um, get yourself started on this. This will work for you the way doing expensive dinner seminars didn't work, the way networking in 3 networking groups doesn't work. We'll really look at your top clients, and then we'll look at what do I do with all the rest to make sure they get service. And that you put on automatic dial, and we'll be talking about how to do that as well. Anybody else?
Just
All
a
right.
quick question,
Yeah, Heidi.
Sandy.
Yes, Heidi.
So if we do purchase this, everything we can access for forever after we've done it?
I will have it up for a pretty long time. I don't know if I can say I'll have it up forever, I'll
Okay.
have it up until I start the fall group at least. Plus, you can download anything you want, and it's certainly available to you.
Okay. Thank you.
And Heidi, by the way, if it turns out that it does come down sooner than you need it to, just send me an email and we'll put you back in.
Okay.
Okay?
Thanks.
How's that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Who else? Thanks for the questions. Thanks for the comments. Lou said, thank you. That's great, Mehdi. Thank you. I appreciate that. Um, we keep this forever, then I guess, yeah, you can, if you download it, it's yours forever. The scripts are all downloadable. Everything is there. There's a couple of bonus sessions there that you'll really appreciate, including two actresses role playing the roles. And I think that you'll get a lot out of that just hearing how it sounds when somebody's doing it. But you'll also get a chance to play with one another because I can break the group into smaller groups and you guys can practice without anybody overhearing it and criticizing you and making you feel uncomfortable. All right, so I see Marcia. It's nice that you're here. Anybody else? Okay, I hope you sign up. I'm looking forward to doing this starting July 11th. I waited till after the 4th to run it. Can we get the information again about the school? Yeah, go to that link and there should be enough information. But if it's not there, then what you want to do is just ask me and I'll make sure you got it. And I put my address. It's sandy@sandyschussel.com. Reach out and I'll give you detailed information about the program. Cool. Anybody else? This was fun. Thank you all. Mehdi, it's nice to see you. And David, of course, it's nice to see you. And I know a lot of these names up here. This is the chance to do this for half price. Don't miss the chance to do it. Can we get the information again about the school? Oh, yeah. So we start July 11th and it runs till the end of August. Um, it's weekly. Every week on Friday, I release another 10 to 15-minute video that you watch over the next 6 days. And then on the following Thursday, it's Thursday afternoons at 1 Eastern every time. On the following Thursday, we meet as a group and we talk about it and we get the questions answered and the fears overcome and we get new ideas from one another. And that's the group coaching part. And then that goes through until the end of August. And as I said, if you have to go away for 2 weeks or whatever, it's all accessible. You'll get the recording. You won't be able to do the interaction, but you don't lose anything by not being available for one of the sessions. And also, if the time isn't right for you, do it all on recordings. That's fine. But I'd love to be able to interact with you and give you help in this because I know it works. I've proven it works. I've got lots of people in the field doing it, like David. This works.
And Sandy, you had someone that asked a question. I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt Mehdi. Mehdi, you go ahead.
Yeah, Mehdi, go ahead.
Sorry about that. The first of all, I want to know tomorrow's session is the same of today, or
Yeah,
that's a different.
tomorrow's exactly the same as today.
Good.
There are a lot of people that couldn't make one or the other, so I split it up, and it's fine.
Second one
Actually,
is
more people tomorrow. What's
good.
that?
Second one is, do you have any limit for this class starting July 1st or July 11th or not? At this time, do you have any limit?
Yeah, I'm looking for 20. I might extend it if I get the 20, but there is a limit because I want to be able to interact with people. And above 25, it gets messy. So, yes, there is a cutoff, and I will tell people about it too.
I am in. Just by the way, how is your health doing? Are you good?
Yes, thank you. Thanks for asking. I'm good. Great. That's good. Click the link, sign up. It'll take us, we're doing it manually, so it'll take us a couple hours to send you the registration link for the program, but we got it covered. And so once you've paid, you'll get the link within 24 hours.
So, Sandy, real quick, before we get to Marcia, because we can't cut off Marcia.
David.
Hi, Marcia. Great to see you.
It's like I
Love
got
seeing
friends and clients here. I feel great. Yeah.
You.
Oh, it's
Hi,
beautiful.
Sandy.
So the person that asked, like, if they don't have clients now, get
Yeah.
this training and get this going now so that as you're in your client development process, you can begin implementing it sooner.
Yes.
And so you'll have to do a transition of whatever marketing you're doing, cold calling seminars or anything else. Everything has a place, but you can eventually transition to more of a referral base, and you can do it on a sure footing with the great confidence than if you didn't have this training. So I'm just telling you, I'm throwing my
Don't
name
learn the
behind
wrong
that.
way
I always have.
first. You know what,
Yeah.
David? It just proves that I don't do hard selling because you just did it for me.
That's not a hard sell. That's a
But
fervent testimonial of my belief in everything that you've trained. Because I've heard everybody else. That's what the rest of my testimonial, of course.
yeah,
I've heard everybody else. Yours is by far more comfortable for me,
yeah,
and I can't. In my opinion, I could be the most aggressive asking for referrals the way you teach it, and no one would tell the difference that I'm being aggressive about it.
yeah.
That's what I like about it.
Yeah, yeah, because they're not thinking, oh, this guy's trying to get business. They're thinking, well, he wants to help my friends and he's done such a good job for me. Why wouldn't I want him to help my friends? And you initiate that conversation just comfortably. It's not a procedure, it's a conversation. And it can make all the difference in the world. Thank you for that, though. I appreciate it. And you're right. If he learns it now, the chances are much better that he's going to be prepared when he has one client to get referrals.
Yep.
Sandy, I'm in. Thank you, David.
All right.
Thank you, Carlos. Good.
Good.
Sandy, you can send me the check in the mail later.
That's funny. Turner, how are you?
Very good. Sandy, this was phenomenal.
This guy
I'm going to treat a couple of agents that I have been mentoring. One is brand new in the business, and the other has been in the business for a few years. So I'm going to treat them to your program.
awesome.
I wish more agents, boy, I can't believe this is the perfect timing for what you're offering. And I love it. After 60 years in the business, I tell you, this is great.
Yeah, thanks, Turner. Turner is a top advisor, and he has advisors under him. And just to have you say that, I much appreciate it. And it was nice to see Marcia too. So,
Well, you can never lose with a guy like David Kender, okay? My idol. So I almost feel like signing up for it myself, but I can't do that and play golf 6 days a week, 18 holes a day.
And that's
You
how
haven't even tried. I mean, you got to try. Okay.
So, Turner, I like your book collection. Oh, somebody's looking at your book collection in the back there. Nice. And if any of you have personal questions, just reach out, Sandy at sandyschussel.com. If you spell it right, you'll get me. And I can answer any questions that you have. So, Heidi, if you still have questions, happy to answer them. Happy to spend some time with you and just talk about your situation. And I'll do that with anybody. If you want to spend, up to an hour with me, I'm happy to talk to you about what you're doing and how you're doing it. And maybe there's something else I can suggest to you that would be as good or better for you. So absolutely. And some of you are clients. I appreciate that too, that you're here. But yeah, let's go make you money in a way that Turner knows is the easiest way, which is just being friends with people, making friends. So that's what we're going to do. Anybody else? All right then.
Sandy,
Yep, go ahead.
question. I'm in the back office where you pay and it's not allowing me to. And then there's one where it says pay in full, it says only $1. Is that the price right now if I ask?
Well, that's pretty good. Listen, if there's a problem with it,
Andy, I have the same problem as well. I
Yeah.
cannot, complete and place the order.
so it's not working. Let me just
You
go.
get it for $1.
Yeah, well, it's not $1, I can tell you that. Let's see why it's not working. There could be a problem with the links because we just put this up. Son of a gun. Yeah, it's not working. It's still her test link. I will get that fixed in the next half hour.
Beautiful.
All right. Thanks. Sorry about that. We
Very
did
good.
this morning, but it
Are you
happened.
able to put the direct link to add something like as put with a card, debit card, and rather than PayPal?
Yeah, and I do have a PayPal link. And you know what I'll do, Mehdi? I'll send it to you. I'll send it to Turner.
Carlos.
I'll send it to. I had my admin on before, but she had to go. So we'll get that straightened out. Thank you for letting me know, because that could be a disaster. So let me go fix it. Let me go fix it right away. I will fix it. Try again in a half hour. We'll get it to work.
Okay.
All right. Thank you all.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.